Hey, so Punk couldn't not swear this week. So if you've got kiddies running about and you're watching this randomly on a Sunday, maybe hit it in your watch later and watch it when you've not got kids running about. He also burped, but it's 11 o'clock at night and I need to get this uploaded if you're going to get it on the Sunday. Okay, bye. Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast. And Jesus Christ,
Can it just end?
We've just spent 10 minutes. I'm in the second setup today, by the way, so I apologise if the audio's a little bit off. I've got two microphones running in case one of them dies.
We've both spent 20 quid to watch a game of football where nothing went our way in terms of our game, but other games did. But, of course, Sheffield Wednesday are wet wipes at the minute who just can't clean anything.
I mean, this is not usually the way we start a podcast. We usually start a podcast quite neutral and quite before we go into stuff, but we're just so fed up now.
Dejected?
Yeah. We probably spoke about 20 minutes before this. We don't usually do that, but we knew that we were going to swear and we knew that we were going to...
Need to get it out of our system.
We need to get out of our system to do a semi-professional podcast. I mean, nothing about this is perfect. Well, actually, we're doing all right, but still...
Not bad.
No, we're... With the Talking Wednesday podcast, I'm Dexterity Box, joined as always by Punk Chef 41. How you doing, Jake?
Good evening. I'm not too bad. I want my £10 back, but I'm not going to get that. And I want most of my £10 back actually this year, but hey, it's supporting the club.
Oh, yeah, spent so much money on the club this morning. It's a long Talking Wednesday today. There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of things in football happened, and it wasn't just Wednesday related for once.
Yeah, lots and lots of things have occurred, and we've got to talk about them all. Okay, I'm about to hold a microphone for about 2 hours.
This is his exercise. So
I've been playing football by myself in the garden because I've got no friends, and there's a pandemic. But yeah, let's.
You didn't have to get your ball back, did you?
Oh, I did actually. I booted it in the garden.
25-year-old something. Can I have my ball back, please?
I can't leave it there. It's a Euro 2020 ball. It's actually quite expensive. I'd like it back, please.
Jesus Christ. Well,
so Sheffield Wednesday recent matches. Let's just get straight into it today, mate, because it's going to be one of those.
Yep.
Sheffield Wednesday started with Blackburn Rovers in the week. Please, Pug, tell me how that transpired and what you thought.
We won 1-0 and they didn't look like they were much up for it themselves at times. And it's like, yay, we got this win. And it gave us hope. And I'm really, really annoyed it did.
Yeah.
Because I don't like hope. Hope is what kills lots and lots of people's dreams, and Sheffield Wednesday dreams right now are just plummeting. But it wasn't a bad game. It was a good result for Windass with the goal. I have noticed Windass doesn't celebrate. Have you noticed that? Windass, when he scored, he's just quite, well,
I think he realises the situation we're in. In fairness, I respect him a little bit more for that, because I wouldn't celebrate my individual achievements during this mess.
Yeah, true.
You know, I had Blackburn on, but I couldn't really give two craps about it.
No.
I'll be honest, it's really hard, and I'm sure some Wednesday fans are feeling this way. I've hit the first point in my life where I don't really care anymore.
I've hit it before, and I'm hitting it again.
I'll always care about this club. I'll always care about our results. We'll obviously carry on the Talking Wednesday podcast, and I'll keep... That's the thing, I say I don't care, but there was a part on the stream today, as we're going to go into the Borough talk, where there was a chance and everything was lining up in our favour, and I felt it again, you know?
This is the stupid thing. There still is a chance, but it's very slim, and we've got to rely on other people.
But, right, okay, let's talk about Borough, and then we'll talk about a bit more how we feel. So the Borough match, what did you think of that one?
3-1 loss. I'm going to say, like I say all the time, we played very well, but our defence, it's just not there. at all. Borough makes mistakes.
Shout to Tom Lees, by the way. It looks like an ankle break. Has Jamie Smith updated us on that at the time of recording this?
Nothing yet. But
Tom Lees, right. It doesn't look good for Tom Lees.
No.
He went straight to the hospital and he's just had an X-ray and it doesn't look like a fracture. But it's a big blow for us to lose him. Okay.
And he's going to be out of contract at the end of the season, so he's going to have to come back from injury to get a new club.
Special shout out to Tom Lees there, because if that is the last time we've seen him.
Yeah, and he's been a really good player yes, he's not been great at the time, but he has been a very long-standing servant of the club. Mm-hmm. And he was captain at one point and did very well as captain. The only thing is we never got that right centre-back pairing for him while he'd been here. And
since Looming, you mean?
Yeah. But we kept on looking for it. We had Sasa, we had Vince, the other lad, who we kept on putting in, and then we had Hector. Him next to Hector was good, but there's never been that solid that we can keep.
I don't want to say this on the back of an injury, but what you're saying there, mate, that almost adds up as goes, what's that common denominator that's not making a good centre-back pair in there?
Tom Lees. Yeah, I know. But we know he's out of contract in summer. I hope he has a speedy recovery. Those are never fun. And when you watched it, you heard him yelling.
All football aside, Tom Lees is a human being that's injured as well. So all our best luck to him on that level. But also in football terms, he's also done a lot for Wednesday, and he's committed. He's been committed to the cause this season. If we take this season out of it, even on a Wednesday front, massive respect to Tom Lees. Sad way to bow out if that is his last appearance. We will talk about it a little bit more once we know about it. But the Borough match, I think that's when a lot of heads went down as well. Players seemed worried about him.
Well, the head went down, but they then also picked up again because they kind of had it was our kind of that break kind of right, like do it, like go for it. It's like it had that over push, but you saw player faces said everything about that injury. But it was, we won't go into a break. And it's 1-1, you're thinking, might be able to get something from this. You never know. But then we crumble at the back again. And it just been a story of our thing. We haven't had a settled back four all season, so we had to change it again due to league going on. Borough made a mistake for the first goal. Jesus, so many mistakes. And you're just like, that's it. If this is how we're going to go down, we're going to go down with a whimper. Yeah. Kind of thing. And
they keep talking about spirit and I'm like, I don't see it, lads. I don't see the spirit on the pitch. You can talk about having a great spirit behind, but I don't see it when you get out on that pitch.
The only shining light for me today, Andre Green had a fantastic game, and him and Lee One are going to rip it apart.
If he stays, he'll have to stay, actually.
He's on a 2-year contract.
Yeah, he'll have to stay as well. I know that, but I mean, if he got an offer from another club, but to be honest, he's been injured so much. Yeah, he will stay. It'll be interesting. He might be we've always had flair. We've always had flair when we've gone down to League One. The player that can get you off your seat. He could be our Antonio.
And also, Bannon didn't take the penalty. Windass did. But again, for me, it's another set-piece penalty kind of thing we relied on. We didn't really do much. The chances we had in the second half, it's another case of Sheffield Wednesday not taking their chances. Windass had one that he should have levelled. Patterson, Big P, should have levelled that one. It's just this annoying thing that we had
he didn't earn his title of Big P today, did he? He didn't, unfortunately.
So it's a loss, and the only saving grace today was Rotherham lost and Derby lost. But now we're relying on other people, and that's the
issue. Derby if we lose next, it's over. If we lose to Forest, it's over.
And Derby a lot of Forest fans want us to Forest to put a really shit team out so they can relegate Derby.
Yeah. No, I get that. Do you know what? I'm going to put a language warning at the start of this week's episode, and I'm not going to edit out the swearing, but please try not to swear too much. It's all right. It's purely because I'm using secondary editing software as well. Yes. I can't be arsed. So there is a bit of a language warning on this week's episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast, because we're going to have to just go rogue with it. If we're going to get it out for Sunday, because I'm editing it all on my laptop, and I hate editing on anything that isn't Mac. I just hate it because I've done it for years on all all Mac software.
You know that software, and then you're going to start using new software and figuring out every day. It's just
I know how to use other software, of course, because like I've gone into industries where they're sticklers for Adobe, but I'm not even using Adobe because I don't agree with subscription practices for editing software. I don't think it's a good one. I think you should be able to buy it outright. So I stopped using Adobe for that reason. Okay. We're going to go into there's a lot of news today. There's some Wednesday news, but there's some wider football news. We're going to start with, and I've done a video on this. I did it pretty early on. The European Super League. Now, it's weird. We have done a whole week since our last podcast. This has developed and crumbled.
Yeah. Like I'm back for.
Yeah. I mean, you're being a bit kind saying they're developed. But still, we've got... Let's just crack straight in with this. So the EFL statement, this came out when the ESL plans were going forward. The EFL stands with the Premier League, the FA, the PFA, LMA, the FSA, Jesus Christ, it sounds like YMCA here, and colleagues across European professional football in condemnation of proposals which attack the foundation of open and fair competition upon which our game is built. A strong pyramid based on promotion, relegation, and ultimately European qualification is fundamental to our game's continued success. The EFL opposes any reform that doesn't support competition integrity or offer clubs the prospect of one day competing at the highest end of the game. Right, so that's a quote. And you might know, if you're living under a rock in football terms, you might not know what the European Super League is. So what has happened is there's been a big
Real Madrid and Barcelona need more money. The crux of it, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
They need more money because their league isn't making enough. And everyone else went, yeah, we'll join it. And then everybody went, no, we like the idea of relegation and promotion. Like, right now, as a Wednesday fan, I don't like relegation. But if you're neutral, you look how tight that table is. It's the entertainment aspect. Anything can happen now.
It's also a case of the Big Six in England that got dragged into this aren't the Big Six.
No.
They are the top six financially now, but
they're not the
I said this in my video. Sheffield Wednesday have 4 top division titles. Tottenham Hotspur have 2, and they were part of this Big Six.
So, if you saw the league game, they all came out with these shirts on. Now, the Terrace that had done our 91 shirts has sold these, and I picked one up. I'm wearing the shirt backwards again. Football is for the fans.
I swear to God. I'm saying
on the back, earn it. And the best thing about this is the money that's gone for it, we have paid for 3 grassroots teams to get 3 shirts next season.
I love that. I love that side of it. I swear to God, though, if we start putting your products on here, you need to start sponsoring us, lads. The amount of free plugs we give away on this podcast.
There's also thankfully Earn shirt. We've generated enough to supply 6 youth and 2 adult grassroots teams.
Oh, I thought you were going to pimp some more of their gear here. Because they have done some Wednesday line of gear, but I'm not giving free sponsorships out.
I'm not giving free sponsorships.
I just
money. The reason I bought this, I loved the idea that the money from this goes to grassroots, which our government should be helping with anyway, but it doesn't. Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's a lovely thing. If I'd have known that, I'd have got one as well. It's a case of, in terms of the European Super League overall, this is not going to go away, which is why we still wanted to mention it on the podcast.
And they said it's not going away.
Yeah, because the Real Madrid president, they have literally, right, let me just pull you some of the quotes, right? So Perez was saying that Perez is the chairman of Real Madrid. He was going to be the president of this European Super League. He's the one that's spearheading it along with Barcelona, because remember, Barcelona pay about 500k a week to Messi.
Yeah.
Real Madrid, they want to buy the best players in the world. They spend world record fees. They had to loan Bale to Spurs this season to pay his wages because they have been hit with COVID and all that. So,
well, both clubs are pretty much in the red anyway.
Yes.
Like, you look at Spanish football, you can go bankrupt, but still play as a football club because that's how
it's like, I think there was a Bayern move. They bought a Bayern player, and then they were talking about, potentially going in for Mbappe or Haaland. And they were like, well, before you do that, can you still pay us what you owe us for this player? I can't remember what the exact... That's the situation that they're in terms of finances. And they are basically bringing this here. They do not get the same level of money that the Premier League does, because it's not a farmers' league, right? A lot of people like to use that, but there is only big draws in there. We've got 6 we've got 6 to 8 clubs that are the big draws in the Premier League. The other leagues have got about 2 that people want to watch the matches for.
You look at Spain, it's Real Madrid, it's Barca, it's Atletico. Now and again, you'll get a Villarreal or someone. Italy, it's your Inters, it's your AC Milan. It's the Milan clubs, it's Napoli, them kind of teams. In Holland, it's Ajax and Feyenoord.
Who weren't even involved in this, by the way. Weren't even invited to it, yet despite the European trophies that Ajax have got, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you look at who the loan was from JP Morgan, that we're going to say up, who had big ties with that, Ed Woodward. He's now resigning at the end of the season for Man United, but it screams as this whole thing as we're doing it for the money, not for the game. And
it's the Glazers and it's the Americans. Right, okay,
yes.
Here's the thing. I was speaking to some Americans in the comment section who don't seem to grasp the basic concept of competition, because in America, and this is going to sound patronizing as hell, but it's true, right? In America, if you don't do very well one season, you can just try again next season. Because the big draw for America is superstar power. That is what American culture is based off of, because they only have a culture going back a couple of hundred years. So, of course, it's going to be about the superstars. That's what they started their culture on. It's in early culture. As I said jokingly in my video, we've got garden sheds in this country older than America. You know? It's one of those where it's a case of, and don't get me wrong, I love the American influence on culture for a lot of things, but football is something that needs to be left alone. And I was also talking about this to somebody who really likes the NBA, and they went, well, it doesn't even work with the NBA structure, because I was saying I had NBA fans coming to me, and they went, yeah, but the NBA only works in its current structure because the lowest team each season gets to pick the top draft. That's why LeBron went to Cleveland.
That's what happens in NFL as well.
Yeah, so how the hell does that work in football? Because how does that work? Because players don't really come through the academies and it takes them time to mature more. It's not about the big college teams. It does not work in football overall.
What we're going to do, let Southend have the top pickers like Haaland and Mbappe. They are the lowest team in the whole 92 at the minute. Are you going to let Southampton, right, with the net pick, Southend pick... Oh, how are we going to pay his wages? I don't know, but we got him.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, no, it's never a sustainable model. It was it was genuinely a case of let's grab this money while we can, and then
the way they did it, the way they announced it slyly as well. A lot of managers didn't know about it, which is worrying. And players.
The American model does not work in football, right? And the people that were for this were the international fans. But also, they weren't just the international fans. They were the international fans of the Premier League clubs. They were the only Premier League fans for this, or the absolute plastics, right? I don't care. I'm soapboxing this now. If you wanted this, you do not like the sport for what it truly is. You like spectacle. You do not like football.
Like the end of the season, with the table. What did they do? Did they do like a Super Bowl kind of thing, halftime show shit?
It's also a case, if you want the highest level of football and you want that Super League style thing, watch the World Cup.
Yeah.
That is what it is. We don't need that. We've got the Champions League, and the Champions League has the bigger clubs playing each other more than it ever did before.
And even that structure, they're looking at changing that structure to now let the big six who wanted to all leave. But the Man City play case, that means we're going to have more games to play, and we're going to be more knackered kind of thing. And this whole situation with this model of football has been around for ages. It worked. Stop trying to change it because you can't make any more money. Here's an idea. Stop paying players so much money and use your fucking academies. Pardon my French.
Going rogue with this one. Take this week. Take this general sort of greed in football and realize that that's what is at the core of a lot of these clubs' ownership, right? When the clubs say that they're about you and they're about a family, doesn't really mean that in a lot of cases. And there is other clubs that if they were invited to this, they'd have very different opinions, right? So you've got to make sure that you realize what the sport is. And I'll be honest, it was a bad idea from the start.
Yeah, it was.
The thing is, Perez has said, quote, this is from BBC, "We are going to continue working. The project is on standby." Right? Barcelona president Joan Joan, he's being Joan today. Laporta echoed Perez's comments, saying a new competition is required to ensure the financial health of the game. Yes! If you keep spending ridiculous money on players, sort yourselves out, stop spending money you don't have, and bring the game back down to that level, because, believe it or not, people lose. Take this from a lower level club, right? Wednesday were part of the Big Six in historical standpoints, and I wasn't alive for that point. But also, please tell me where Man City were at that time, who were part of this Big Six.
And also with the comments like from Graham Soon said, "Oh, the fans shouldn't be punished." We've been punished. Bolton fans have been punished. But Bury fans are not a club anymore. Look at the list of clubs that have had point deduction. The fans didn't deserve to get punished, but we did.
If that's a thing, if fans get punished because of points deductions, then stop points deducting for administration. Stop points deducting for financial fair play. Stop it, because that is. It doesn't matter though, because that doesn't happen to the clubs at the top, because they're protected, and it's this bubble. It's this bubble of arrogance, And I went off a little bit more on this one because I've watched it develop with that. No, these clubs shouldn't be punished. Yes, they should, right?
Yes.
And I've also got my best mate's a Liverpool fan. A lot of my friends are Premier League supporters. I lived in Liverpool for a while. They want to see them dragged over the coals for this. The true fans.
I know a lot of Liverpool fans that said, "I want us to start back in League Two and start again because that's what we deserve for trying to do this." If Rangers had to make a new club for what happened with them, the top six should.
Speaking of Rangers, so
I thought you liked that segue.
Going on from the European Super League. Would a British Super League be an idea? Sky Sports are reporting David Moyes, West Ham manager, advocates unified British League in wake of Super League debacle. Quote, change is needed in some way. I think the Premier League has a brilliant product, I really do. But at the top clubs, you're talking about too many games. So could we have Premier League 1 and Premier League 2? Could we have a situation where we invite Rangers and Celtic into Premier League 2? Why not Premier League 1, by the way, Moyes, if you're saying this? Why can we not unite the UK? Why do we have to be England and Scotland and not unite it? Why can it not be a pyramid that allows teams in the Scottish leagues to get into the Premier League 2? In fact, I think it could actually, more money would filter down if Rangers and Celtic could be given the opportunity to come in. Why not try to make what we have got something new? That's a typo in the article. And maybe take a few less teams, maybe 2 out of the Premier League to put in Premier League 2 and have an extra few weeks for the other teams. So that's end quote. So basically, he wants another Premier League. So he basically wants the Championship to be the 3rd tier, probably. Premier League 2. He wants to bring the Scottish League or some teams from the Scottish League into the... And this has been talked about for a while. And I know Scottish and Rangers fans will be chomping at the bit for this. They'll be like, yes, please. Because they've wanted it for ages. They've wanted to be in these leagues for ages. And I'm not trying to speak for all of you there. I know we've got some Celtic fans that watch this podcast with all the Liam Shaw stuff. But I'm already annoyed that the Welsh teams are in it, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of thing. You already got the Wales teams in. Why you not got the Scottish teams in? Kind of thing.
There's that side of it too. If we're going to have Welsh teams, why not have the Scottish leagues in? The thing is, that would call for, rather than a Super League, that would mean
an entire complete change everything.
You restructure the whole league.
Yeah. The thing is, the only issue you've got there is someone in the Highlands of Scotland has got to go all the way down to Plymouth. That's a long journey. And a lot of the clubs won't have like the finances for planes and stuff. That's a coach journey.
That's true.
So when do you set off to get all the way down to play? That's the thing. It's the concept is great. And personally, I would like it, but I also wouldn't, because that might cause a domestic in my household if we have to play Celtic.
Yeah, his wife's Celtic fan, which is fun. But it's also a case of like Premier League 1 and Premier League 2, like, and then what's below that? The Championship, and then you've still got League 1 and League. It'd need whole structure. It'd need a whole.
You need
reform.
to change everything, and it can't be something that's been done on the whim. It has to be properly looked at. We've seen what happens when things are done on whims. They don't particularly work well. And you have to be very, very careful how you're changing someone's Saturday, in a sense. And that's basically what you're doing. You're changing someone's Saturday. or game time to like watch it, because there's gonna be you still have people who talk about the leagues or when the championship coming. It's like going down to League One is the old third division.
Okay, you've got Celtic links, right?
Yep.
So you tell me where you think, if we brought forget the Premier League 1, forget the Premier League 2 sort of thing. If you brought Celtic into the English Football League as it currently stands, with the Premier League included, where would they sit currently based on their squad?
Currently based on their squad, I say they're either pushing playoffs championship and a yo-yo team in and out, because they've not got the money to keep building the squads.
They're a Watford.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And that's no disrespect, but the money in Scotland, but would that money trickle down because they would have parachute payments then as well?
There's that side of it as well. And Rangers, do you think they're the same thing? Do you think those top two clubs would be yo-yo clubs?
It feels that way, yeah. And that's no disrespect, that's my opinion, just because I know you look at some of the players Rangers and Celtic have got in the past, they've been either mid-level or high-tier championship players.
Right, so here's the thing.
Very rare you take a Premiership.
Here's the thing that brings that on from that. The same league, right? The SPL, right?
Yeah.
But if we take it into a British league standpoint, where does St Johnstone, who are in the SPL, sit in that football pyramid, in your opinion?
They're near us at the moment.
No, they're not. They're League One. They're mid-League One, lower League One. Yeah. And that's the thing. There's a gulf in quality in terms of where it sits. And
but it's back to the Super League thing. Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're your top, and it's everyone else fighting for whatever.
That's the thing. That's why I'm saying bringing these clubs into it would only be you've got to realise that if this happened, all the clubs have to come, because there'd be no Scottish League anymore. It would kill it. I know a lot of fans that in the Scottish leagues who only look for what the big two clubs and what big two clubs have got it on their diaries, for when they play certain clubs. So
you're crashing my end. There we go.
So it's a case of, if these like St Johnstone, Hibs and that, they when they play, I watched an interview, I think it was on TalkSport, where somebody had played for those clubs and said, we only look for as soon as you sign for the club, you look for when you're playing Celtic, you look for when you're playing Rangers. That's the only draw to that league. So if you're going to pull those out of the league, you've got to take everyone, otherwise it's going to collapse.
That's their cup finals in a sense, isn't it? If you beat them, you're in for a good season, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great idea, to be honest. I think it's, but then again, the Welsh clubs are in there. I could see it happening. I could see it having legs, and I wouldn't be entirely against it because the Welsh clubs are already in the English Football League. But if it becomes a British Football League, it needs a whole restructuring. That's my opinion on it. It needs to be
and
restructured.
if you're doing a British, you may have to put some of the, I think it's which I get my Irish confused with.
Northern Ireland League. They don't even have a professional league.
Yeah.
Semi-professional, so it's mental.
To be fair, I normally play their rubbish teams on FIFA just to see what they're like, because they're normally like 1 or 1.5 stars.
I mean, I might be lying there. It might be Ireland's that's got the semi-professional league. Yeah. But fact check that one. Right, okay. Irrigidi interest. We're going to quickly go over some transfer speculation. This is from the Star in relation to Irrigidi. Quote, Champions League regulars, Club Bruges, and potential Premier League winners, Sporting Club Portugal, so Sporting, have both gotten in touch about potential pre-contracts with the defender. However, he has opted to put talks in his future on hold, end quote. Against Borough, he was coming off the bench. He's not been a starter.
No.
I think he's off. Right?
Yeah.
We don't want to go into this massively. We're not going to waste your time today with this podcast with a lot to talk about. Just bringing you the update on O'Geady, more interest in him. But it's
if he goes at the end of the day, at the end of the season, if he does go, good luck for it. Have a good career and just enjoy your football, enjoy life.
Yeah, he's a quality footballer, in fairness. Yep. The Star understands that David Agbon-Tahoma is on trial at Wednesday. He played for the under-23s
I just
recently.
Call him Dave. I'm not going
at least
to attempt that name.
At least he's a David for you, mate. He's a 19-year-old centre-back and he's out of contract in the summer. and basically we're looking at younger players for
Would
our
be good,
rebuild.
actually.
Yeah, coming from the Southampton youth setup, I think. So would be interesting to see how that one develops. Okay, next bigger topic. So recently, Wednesday have had another supporters engagement panel. Right. I think, is this different from the trust, or is it the same thing?
I think it feels like this. I don't know if it's different, but it feels like the same thing, just under a new name.
Basically, both of them don't talk about the prospects of relegation. So these things are the question we want answering. We don't know anything about our future still. So this, not having not slagging off, but the last note said that they wanted to talk about what happens if we hit League One.
Yeah.
That's not happened. I will go through some of the positive. Do I even want to read that? I'm not in the mood to read these, but I'll do it. Okay, so
Summarise. Why don't we just summarise it?
I'll read
reading
them.
it.
These are the positives from the club, right? So, Lee Bullen received an EFL National Award for contacting and arranging a private meeting with the supporting sufferer. That dude on Twitter, Sid is his name, I think.
Sid Al. Yep.
Yeah, so obviously that was a really nice thing to see from the club, and I hope Sid's doing better now. Continuation of players contacting supporters through lockdown. We have seen a little bit of that on Twitter. Media team coordinating and producing player personal video messages to the supporters and bespoke letters from the club to help with a range of varying requests. Where is my personalised video message from Big P?
You didn't sponsor him, so you don't get one. Oh, that's the thing next season. Sponsoring players. Oh.
Hit that join membership below. And if we get a load at the top tiers, you know what's happening. Right. Adam reaching grade with 3 local schools in a virtual Zoom call, part of World Book Day. This is an interesting list. Andre Green conducted a virtual seminar with aspiring youngsters on the path to becoming a professional footballer. Sam Hutchinson conducted an hour-long Q&A with Sheffield Hallam University postgraduates as part of the club's ongoing relationship with Hallam. Promoted club partner Cadbury's projected a project with personalised chocolate bars posted to our wise old owls. They're all the nice thing the clubs have done. The club has done. Do you know what isn't nice? The relegation. I'm such a cynic today. I'm fed up.
It's been a long old season.
It has. DC on ticket pricing. We had to include this because a lot of people are still talking about tickets. So I'll just read you this. So feel free to tune out or skip ahead. DC said he's opening to reducing prices, but the club must be sustainable. The owner cannot continually make up shortfalls. He said no problem to raise questions, but invited the panel to offer solutions/alternatives in addition to simply reducing prices. So basically, what do you want me to do?
But we have offered you options and what you should have done. And every time we've offered them to you, gone, I'll take it on invitement, and then the invitement gone.
DC is happy for the club to break even, not even concerned with profit. Oh, bless. But he must protect the club. Further debate was held on ticketing, and DC explained the current situation is challenging because of the impact COVID in the team's position. And he said he said that he has overall responsibility for the club and wants the fans and the club to come together. DC appreciates the support of all the fans and acknowledges that the fans want cheaper tickets /and/or rebates if in League One, but if we were promoted, similar principle would apply. So basically, if we come back up, they're going to be the same price. He said
Yeah, when Huddersfield went up, the all season ticket for like 200 and some quid. They kept them at like a nice price. You kept the fans happy.
Going further on into this, he said that he is aware that some fans want him to leave, but repeated that he is doing his best he can for Wednesday and helping the club survive in the most trying of circumstances. I hope he is. I really hope he is, because it feels like we've not got much of a leg to stand on anymore. The panel agreed there are 2 sides to consider and aim to work together and build a shared approach. The panel voiced concerns that 55% of supporters requested refunds from the 1920 season. That is not a minority. They are genuinely concerned relationships have been damaged, and one way for fans to communicate their message is to ask for a refund. Some will genuinely need that money because of the impact of the pandemic. Now, these these are the notes from the trust. We believe that hiring a director of football, this was pitched to him, and a CEO is what's needed to provide stability and a long-term plan for the football club. Can the chairman discuss his thoughts on this? DC said he already explained his views on a director of football. Basically, he doesn't want a director of football. Okay, I'm not reading all of that. He doesn't want a director of football because the manager makes the decisions. He's contradicted different interviews. I'm tired of it. What's the plan for League One? We said this last time. What's the plan for relegation? The one thing that should have been asked in this supporters engagement panel. What is the plan? We are heading down. Stop looking at the positive. What is the plan? What is the bounce back?
Stop trying to shine it. We already know what the situation is. Because there's no positive spin to put on this.
I don't want to hear about the community stuff because the community
I want to know what the long-term plan is.
Yeah, and also the community stuff is a drop in the ocean, right? It's a drop in the ocean for... I know myself, right? I've put so much money into this club over the years. I've not got anything back. I've never had anything community-based from this club. And that's just me. Obviously, there's some people that it really touches and that. But
I kind of want to say, and all I got is this T-shirt.
But I'm not in the minority there, though. Do you know what I mean? The majority of fans get nothing but just ignorance for their loyalty, and they get very little.
The problem I got with this fan engagement thing, it seems like you're just doing it to plead the fans and say, look, I'm listening, I'm talking to you. But unless you actually listen and try and see the fan point of view, there's no point having them. Yeah. You're wasting everyone's time. And on this podcast, we have tried not to go hell in on DC, but at the end of the day, he is the owner. He's the one running the club.
It's getting worse now we're heading towards League One, to be honest, because I've always tried to play devil's advocate, but I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of the same thing and having I don't even watch the post-match interviews anymore because I'm tired of it all, mate?
Yep. No, completely understand.
The
same as I thought I was listening to Radio Sheffield at the end of games.
Yeah. I get you. It's not the same as connecting. So let's move on to Iorfa's interview. So Iorfa's been speaking. Obviously, we've missed Dom Iorfa this season. I think it'd have been a very different season with him here. He's been speaking exclusively to the website, the Wednesday website. Quote, I'm good. Things have been progressing slowly. It's been nearly 4 or 5 months since the injury, but things are going well and I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel and I'm close to getting back on the grass. It was a tough start. The first few weeks I was in a very dark place. It's my first long-term injury and it was tough watching the boys train. The mental side of recovering from injury can often be overlooked. Oh, this is that's not his quote, actually. This is what Wednesday brought in. But with the support of teammates and a new family addition, Iorfa has managed to stay focused and positive. Quote, it was tough at the start. The first few weeks I was in a dark place. I've just read that. I've copy and pasted this, so have they repeated it twice, or am I just really bad at copy and pasting? I probably am really bad at copy and pasting. It's been a long day. Basically, he's got a new family. It's helped him get there. Yeah. He's the main thing from this interview is he's looking forward to working with Darren Moore, which is...
And this is the thing. I think Dominic Iorfa is the kind of player, unless a money deal comes in for Wednesday, that's too good to not turn down, because remember, we only paid 200k for him, so whatever we get for him is going to be a bloody bonus.
Yeah.
I think he'll want to give it back to the supporter and go, right, not an apology for saying, oh, we went down, but he knows that deep down, if he's in that back four, we're probably not in this situation. And the more times I hear more of our players coming out, they want to work with Darren Moore, it makes me a little bit more optimistic because they're saying all the right things.
Yeah. No, I get you.
He seems like he's got players on board, even though it's not working as such. And you look at the tactic that he's trying to do, we've not got the right player for it. To do working from the back, you need quick, speedy players. Our back four isn't quick, and it's not speedy that we currently got. And you need a keeper that can work with feet. So long term, it's got something bad. We said on this podcast, I feel like we've got a better long term plan than the actual club have got at times with how we're looking at his team. You know what I mean?
I like Darren Moore. I like his style.
And on that, he's back home now, which is great.
Yeah, so he could be back at the club very soon. It feels like too little, too late. But to be honest, I don't think he could have done much from the sidelines. This club needs a lot more.
There's not. You bring him in when he did. for him to make a difference, you had to bring him in when we got rid of Monk.
Yeah, I agree.
Bringing him in now was it was pointless. You
So
were
there's-
looking for Milk and it didn't work.
There's rumours going around this week that players out of contract were not allowed to speak with the media. That was a leak from Pelopes's agent. We're taking this from the 72 website. They're talking about, well, quote, Pelopes's agent has told Dutch media outlet Tubantia that the Dutchman is not short of interest going into the final weeks of his Sheffield Wednesday contract. Tubantia went on to claim Sheffield Wednesday have forbidden players to speak to the press this week, with Darren Moore's side currently sitting in 23rd place in the championship table.
That's a very big word, forbidden, isn't it? That's like being told you cannot play on your PlayStation tonight until you eat your
I don't want to
vegetables.
comment on this one too much because I don't know if this is just clickbaity, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see what it goes because talking of contracts, Sportsmall's reporting that Sheffield Wednesday are reportedly halting all contract talks with players at many levels of the club, with multiple players out of contract this summer. It's locked in until we get relegated, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the case. Right. We're blasting through this podcast this week. You can probably understand why. We're on the verge of hitting 100,000 plays. We possibly won't do that without breakouts this week. So hopefully you can go to those breakouts and give them some views and likes. We'd appreciate that. But the next topic, this is going to stir some feathers, right? So Warnock, I remember back in the Milan days where Warnock was in talks. I remember listening to him on the radio when he could have taken us over. So he obviously beat us with Borough, a good Borough side. His side beat us. He was planning to do that. He said, but it's weird because you should hate him, but I don't hate him. And that's going to rub a lot of people up there.
It's going to really annoy a lot of people. I like Neil Warnock around just because, but his tie to Sheffield United is the only thing that I've got. If he had no tie to Sheffield United, I'd love him even more.
He said when he came in, when he led up to the match, he was like, if Sheffield Wednesday fans were watching the other night, I cannot say I was not trying against my old club Rotherham, because I did and I tried my hardest, and I bet they were really pleased. We played like that. I will be trying the exact same to help Rotherham. It's nothing against Wednesday. I'm glad it is Sheffield Wednesday because it's always a club I look at in the calendar. When we do play them at Hillsborough and at home, I'm just disappointed there is no fans in, as Wednesday usually give me a rousing applause. Now, this ties into Maple Leaf writing into us. He goes, Dex and Punk, I'm curious to know your thoughts on Neil Warnock. I consider him to be a lovable villain, and I quite enjoyed the antagonism and rivalry. I know the history, his endless kneeling in the press and on the pitch, and the United links, but I can't help but respect the guy for how he managed Cardiff in the Premier League and the Salah death, and the tragic Salah death. Yeah. Am I simply too young and far removed? I've lived in North America my entire life to appreciate why the fan base truly hates Colin. No, because I live much closer and I respect Colin, you know? Yeah. So,
as a person, if you look at his kind of mannerisms and his kind of thing, he's that granddad you always want to go because he's got a good story and he makes you laugh. He's that kind of thing. And one of the best things about Neil Warnock is when he went on his retirement, it was his missus that kicked him out the house and said, "You're going to get another job. I've had enough of you now. Leave. You're messing everything up." And that kind of says everything about the man.
No, it's one of those, because these quotes from Warnock are taken from the Yorkshire Post this week. He says, this is the interesting thing, talking about when he nearly took over with Milan, quote, I knew he took over there a few years ago. Mandaric offered me the job on the Friday night and I said, listen, you have the weekend to think about it, Milan. Ask your chief executive and one or two others what they think about it. Get it out in the press, what you're thinking, and if you still want me next week, I'll take over on Monday. And he said, yes, Neil, I see what you mean. When he told, when Milan had then taken that to everyone and gone, oh, I see now.
Was that on Milan's famous underwater telephone?
Yeah, I remember that. And then quote from Neil, in fairness to the Sheffield Star newspaper, they did a poll and I got 60% said they would have me. I thought that was good. And if I'm honest, I would have enjoyed it as well as that time. I'd have taken him back then.
Same.
We probably
would have got a Premiership run.
There's part of me that goes now that I'd still possibly take him.
Well,
that's how bad we are.
Well, you're seeing the things that Sheffield United fans are calling for him to come home. after the Middlesbrough job, and like, right.
The thing is,
and-
though, they've disrespected that man quite a lot. If you think about it, the way the sackings he's had when he's had some of their best times, they've left him in the mud quite a few times.
Different ownership though back then.
Yeah, that's true.
It's now new ownership. If they really want to get fans back on board, they might have to go down another. He's a fan of the club, but
would you have Warnock if everything went arse up with Moore?
Possibly, yes. But would he come down to League One?
I don't know. He'd probably relegate us till the beyond. To be honest. You can
see that being on his gravestone, can't you? I relegated Sheffield Wednesday to the point of oblivion.
Yeah, I relegated them to League Two for the first time in their history. But no, I think part of it, I like him. I like the pantomime villain aspect of it, and I hate that I like him, but I do. I just think he's funny. And I think that there was times in history where maybe he'd have done well at Wednesday, but I can't get over. I wouldn't fully be able to get over the fact he's a blade. I couldn't do it.
No, but this is the thing. This is where Chris Wilder, when he talked about like things like this, he didn't have the humour aspect. It just came across as being bitter.
Yeah, no, Wilder does strike me as a bitter character. But Warnock always struck me as respecting Wednesday.
Yes.
That's the difference. He always struck me as somebody that respected Wednesday, because he even said that like we were the big club. We were like the Manchester United, and they were he literally said that we were the Manchester United and they were the peasants when he was growing up. And people have tried to spin that as like, oh well, he's talking. It was that long ago. He's trying to have a dig. No, he's not. He's realizing
he's actually being realistic.
There's a lot of people that don't realize the history of Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, and it's only recent history where it's ever been in question.
And you also
who maybe is, the
Warnock's
bigger club.
in his 70s.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't help us out much more than that. But no, I don't know. I just thought it was funny to talk about Warnock nearly becoming Sheffield Wednesday manager. So let us know what you think in the comments. Right. Community topics. There's not too many this week. We're just going to go over 2 of them. I've saved a couple, but there's not been that many that were put in there. Please check the community tab, obviously. But I know it's been a weird week.
To be fair, I can understand why you haven't want to do it, because I can tell we get all through this podcast this week.
Yeah, exactly. There's been news stories. We could have chatted for breakouts.
The news story that I went to put in there, like, do we really want to talk about this after the Middlesbrough game?
No, nope. we've got so much to talk about, and obviously we've got many podcasts to come over the summer that we can put those all in, and we'll be in better moods. I won't be 2 pints deep and in a mood. So the first community topic is from Holly Norris today. What's your favourite beer to drink on a match day? I don't drink on a match day. That's really boring. But I drive.
No, I don't drink on a match day either.
I drive to the club. I drive to the matches, so I can't drink. Sorry about that. Do you not drink either?
No.
Okay, Jez Giant Chicken writes in, best/worst non-football related things that has happened to you at Hillsborough.
Well, if anyone watched the podcast, then you'll know. I got married there. I got married at Hillsborough.
I always forget that. I got
married, and all my wedding photographs of me in the cop, and there's actually a really good picture where we're in the dressing rooms and there's a phone number on the thing for Dave Jones to ring someone about a player. And it's on my wedding pictures. It's like, oh, I never did actually ring that to go, who's this? I'm like, if you're having a wedding Wednesday, please clear your board. Not a good idea.
Yeah, that's bad, that, isn't it? That is bad.
But yeah, my best one's getting married there.
They lost
me before. They lost me before I got married. They lost me before I got married.
They what?
They lost me before I got married. I was sat in the cop and no one knew where I'd gone.
Oh.
I'm there in my wedding suit. Think, all right, I need to calm down so I don't.
He's got cold feet. Actually, he's just having a lovely time sat in the cop.
I'll just sit in the cop, look at the pic, going, am I really getting married here? Yep. Okay.
I think my one was it at Hillsborough, or was it when I went to see a local match? I can't remember. No, I know that somebody weirdly recognised me in the toilets once of a football stadium. I can't remember if it was Hillsborough.
It's always the toilets.
And do you know what was weird? It's because we'd played a bar in Sheffield the night before with the band, and went, you know that dude that was was at the butt, and I was like, I'm taking a piss. You know, it's interesting because when people like chat to you like that, it's always in awkward situations, you know. And I'm like,
the worst one is when the person went to the toilet says, "Can I shake your hand?" It says, "Not really. You not wash your hands," and I'm currently still peeing.
I mean, I'm glad it didn't get to that stage. I mean, at this point though, I'd not done anything Wednesday related, so obviously nobody had known me from Wednesday stuff or this channel or out.
They just saw you the weekend rock star.
It's just so yeah. It was a case of we'd played. It was a Saturday match and we played Friday. We'd played Friday night, the night before, and I was like, I was still sort of semi-hanging, looking probably not that washed from the night before because when we gig we used to obviously stay out for a little while and then just make it a weekend thing with the football in there as well. But yeah. That's the weirdest thing. I think that was at Hillsborough. I think it was.
Before we go,
it will have been at Hillsborough because it wouldn't because it'd have been a venue near. It'd have been a venue in Sheffield.
On the gigging side, have you ever had it when you're coming back from a gig where the band is absolutely pissed and then there's a designated driver and then one of the band members decided to go nick road signs?
We've not got that far yet. In fairness, we usually use separate cars.
It was always our bass player who used to always find a road sign, and we once went to his house. I kid you not, his back bedroom was full of them.
I had a traffic cone in my uni room, but that's about the extent of it. Right. Thank you for that, Jez Giant Chicken. Upcoming matches. Yep. We've got one because this.
Let's just do it. It's Forest. We need to win.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much. That's all that matters. You don't need to know the fact that their away record is 25 points, their home record is 25 points. Depending on today, that could be different. You don't need to know that their top scorer is Lewis Grabban with 5 goals, and you don't need to know
6. He got to go.
Oh, right, 6 goals, and you don't need to know that they are currently hovering between 16th and 18th in the championship. They're safe. Yeah. So what you need to know is Wednesday need to win it. It's the only match we've got coming up. Because
we need to win this. We need Rotherham to lose there, and we need Derby to lose, and then for the last game of the season, oh my God. If we stay up, me and you might be a little bit delirious on the podcast afterwards.
Yeah. But also, it's a case of like next week, if we do get relegated, if you would like to be involved in a relegation special, we are going to start, and Punk doesn't know about this yet. We're not going to put people on camera, but we will do, because we don't record this live, this is the safer way to do it. We're going to do some phone-ins. Right, but it'll be on Zoom. Okay, so if you are, I don't know what I said. So if you are interested in that, I'm going to be dropping a thing in the community tab. So make sure you're subscribed. And
have you got the email address for people who don't use the community tab as well?
What we're going to do there is I don't have the email address of people in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with some sort of link or something to a Google document where, or some way that people can contact me. Maybe even just email. I might say, right, email me here. And that way, when we do the call-ins on Zoom, I will then add you all to the waiting room and admit you one by one when we do that phone-in episode. Which will probably be tied to it might not be the relegation podcast, but we might do a relegation podcast and then a relegation podcast with the Talking Wednesday community. So I was thinking that's a way we could do it. But if you are interested in that, let us know in this comment section. And then when I put the community tab in there, we can set that all up and I can get you all involved. I thought that's a good way of doing it. People have wanted to do phone-ins. I don't want it to be one of those things, but it's a way we can do it and we can still keep our high levels of production to an extent. Okay,
and we can monitor whoever comes in.
Yeah,
so that was the other thing.
We don't want anybody coming in on the Zoom call on camera windmilling. That wouldn't be ideal for our image, really. I mean, Punk already does that as soon as we stop filming. So let's talk about
I have a child. My windmilling days are over.
So I was gonna say like, as are your dreams then, but I didn't. That's when the friendship. That's when the friendship levels get to off podcast levels. But right, so it's been an interesting week for Wednesday. I hope you're all doing well. Somebody said in the comment section, because we drank on last week's podcast and that, and we got really funny that we're getting unfiltered and this podcast is getting better and better because of it. So hopefully our hilarity and our mental state is keeping you all entertained.
Just wait for the relegation one. We'll be half cut before we even record it.
Exactly. But have you got anything to end the podcast on today, my friend?
Football is football, and I know some people think it's life or death, but at the end of the day, remember, football's a game. Family is more important.
He loves to end on that one. And I respect
it.
But for now, guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you probably when Wednesday are a League One team. But let's not try and dwell on that one too much. See you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.